Jai Hind viewers, it's my honor today to host Dr. Divya Anand on the Candid conversation in the global strategic and defense news to discuss the China-Taiwan issue. Dr. Divya is an assistant professor of international studies in the Amity University, Noida. She has done an MPhil and PhD from Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, and her area of specialization is security, South Asia, foreign policy, and militancy. Welcome, Divya, to the Candid Conversation.
Very good morning, sir. First of all, it is my pleasure to be a part of Global Strategic and Defense News platform to discuss China-Taiwan issue. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Colonel Jasinder Singh Sodhi, sir, for providing me an opportunity to be a part of this platform.
Thank you, Divya. Divya, my first question to you is, can you please explain the genesis of the China-Taiwan issue along with the datelines?
Before we talk about the contemporary tense China-Taiwan relations, we need to understand as to what led to the present-day China-Taiwan tensions. To begin with, the island nation of Taiwan, officially known as the Republic of China, is situated around 100 miles from China's southeast coast and separated from China by the Taiwan Strait. So at present, Taiwan has its very own constitution. The country has around 300,000 active armed forces and democratically elected government. So according to some historical sources, Taiwan first came under full Chinese control in the 17th century when the Qing dynasty began administering it. Then in 1895, they gave up the island to Japan after losing the First Sino-Japanese War. China took the island again in 1945 after Japan lost World War II. But a civil war erupted in mainland China between nationalist government forces led by Chiang Kai-shek and Mao Zedong's Communist Party. So the communists won in 1949 and they took control over Beijing. Chiang Kai-shek and what was left of the Nationalist Party, known as the Kuomintang, they fled to Taiwan, where they ruled for next several decades. So since the founding of People's Republic of China in 1949, Chinese advocates suggest that Taiwan has always been a part of China. Beijing further asserts that there is only one China and views PRC, which is People's Republic of China, as the only legitimate government of China. An approach it calls the One China principle, and it seeks Taiwan's eventual unification with the mainland. However, Taiwan never agrees with this point. The island nation argues that Taiwan was never a part of the modern day Chinese state established in 1949 under Mao or the Chinese state formed in the wake of 1911 revolution. So, but today we know that over around 13 countries across the globe, they consider Taiwan as a sovereign country. And given this backdrop, I would like to outline few specific external and internal factors that led to the present day China-Taiwan conflict. At first, I'll be talking about the external factors, the timeline. So after 1949 and throughout much of the Cold War, Taiwan enjoyed substantial international recognition as the Republic of China, especially due to US-led anti-Chinese communist campaign and the mainland's own isolationist and ideological posture. However, in 1971, the PRC garnered enough votes in the UN General Assembly to expel Taiwan as the Republic of China and to admit the PRC as the representative of China to the UN. In 1972, on a historic trip by US President Nixon to China, United States re-established contact with People's Republic of China and signed the first US-Sino joint communique. So between 1972 and 82, US and People's Republic of China agreed to 3 joint communiques, each of which included significant language related to Taiwan. It was in 1979, major development, that is when US established formal diplomatic relations with the PRC. At the same time, it severed its diplomatic ties and abrogated its mutual defense treaty with the Republic of China, which is Taiwan. In the same year, it also passed Taiwan Relations Act, which guarantees support for the island. This act states that United States must help Taiwan to defend itself. The United States maintains a robust unofficial relationship with the island, and it continues to sell defense equipment to its military. So it is suggested that the US government presents arms sales to Taiwan is consistent with the TRA, which is Taiwan Republic Act, which states that United States will make available to Taiwan such defense articles and defense services in such quantity as may be necessary to enable Taiwan to maintain a sufficient self defense capability. In short, why I've mentioned all this is to highlight the US has maintained trade and military ties with Taipei. US has always argued that its commitment to not to carry out long-term policy of arms sales is predicated on the PRC's continued commitment to peaceful resolution of sovereignty disputes with Taiwan, which itself is in question. So, on the one hand, China's no peaceful resolution approach, and on the other, US strategic ambiguity to maintain balance between China and Taiwan has complicated the overall Taiwan issue. So, this was just to mention the external factors, but coming to the domestic level, Kuomintang, which is KMT, has remained the authoritarian ruling party in Taiwan. It's in the common domain. We all are aware of it. That is from 1949 to 2000, and then again from 2000 to 2016. So, on the one hand, in the 1980s, it tried to relax its rules in matters of visits and investments in China. In 1991, Taiwan proclaimed that the war with China was over. On the other hand, in 1992, a consensus was reached between the representatives of the Chinese Communist Party and the Kuomintang Party. So, the context of the 1992 consensus is read and understood by both parties as per their perspectives. So, for instance, for PRC, as President Xi Jinping has stated, 1992 consensus reflects an agreement that two sides of the strait belong to one China, and they would work together to seek national reunification under one country and two systems framework. Their counterpart, on the other hand, takes a different view. KMT simply argues that consensus indicates that both the mainland and Taiwan belong to one China. Now, to be clear, for Taiwan, one China refers to ROC, that is Republic of China. To note here, Taiwan's understanding of one China has always been ignored, and China's claims on Taiwan based on 1992 consensus has resulted in China's coercive tactics towards Taiwan ever since. There was another major development happening in 1990s, that is a wave of democracy in Taiwan. So for the first time in Taiwan's history, a non-Kuomintang candidate, Chen Shui-bian, emerged victorious in the presidential elections of 2000. Chen represented Democratic Progressive Party. Now, Democratic Progressive Party is a political party traditionally made up of native Taiwanese, and they explicitly called for Taiwan's independence. This approach has been in sharp contrast to what Kuomintang has maintained throughout. That is, consistently calling for closer ties with Beijing and not supporting Taiwan's independence. So, if you see such domestic political dynamics, it has buttressed China Taiwan conflict. Recently, cross strait tensions have increased ever since the re election of Taiwanese President Tsai Ing wen, leader of, again, Democratic Progressive Party in 2020. Tsai has refused to endorse 1992 consensus. In her inaugural address, Tsai noted that she was elected president in accordance with the Constitution of the Republic of China, which is one China document, and she would safeguard the sovereignty and territory of ROC, that is Republic of China, and she pledged to conduct cross-state affairs in accordance with the constitution. So Beijing completely rejected this stance. They cut off official contacts with Taiwan. And in response, also, they have increased aggressive actions, including flying fighter jets near and across the island.
Well, Divya, that was very informative and interesting, and many relevant points came out. And I'm sure the viewers would have really, listened to your points and would have gained a lot of knowledge from that. Divya, my next question to you is: do you feel that China will ever attack Taiwan?
Testifying to Congress in May 2002, if I mention, US Director of National Intelligence Avril Haines agreed that the threat to Taiwan is critical or acute between now and 2030. Xi Jinping categorically emphasized that unification with Taiwan is essential to achieve what he calls Chinese dream. So we cannot deny the possibility of China attacking Taiwan. And it is also based on the historical fact and experiences that China has not ruled out using force as a strategy to achieve Taiwan's reunification. Some analysts believe that Beijing could invade the way Russia has started a war with Ukraine. So, keeping in mind the changing geopolitical realities and the power dynamics, such as Russia China rapprochement, rising China's assertiveness in the Indo Pacific and beyond, the Ukrainian conflict, etc., can actually cushion more frequent conflicts, if not a full fledged war, not only in the Taiwan Strait, but also in the Indo Pacific region in the short term. So, if China takes over Taiwan, it will become more autonomous in projecting its power in the Western Pacific. So, we cannot ignore that China is the only potential capable of combining its economy, its military, diplomatic, technological power to mount a sustained challenge to the United States. So, by attacking Taiwan, China has the potential to heighten pressure on the United States by opening up another theater of conflict in the Indo Pacific at large.
One really hopes that this war doesn't take place because the world is already suffering a lot because of the Russia-Ukraine war. Divya, do
Absolutely.
you feel that in case this China-Taiwan war does happen, will USA support Taiwan? I mean, my question is in reference to what is happening with Ukraine. Though USA and the NATO countries have given a lot of military aid, but they have not sent a single soldier on ground. So, do you feel that USA would do this with Taiwan in case China attacks Taiwan?
So I feel US will surely help Taiwan in case of any attack. So Taiwan is a part of the first island chain of some US friendly territories and is of great foreign policy importance for the United States. So it is to be highlighted that US one China policy is not an endorsement of Beijing's position whereby Taiwan is an inalienable part of one China to be reunified one day. Indeed, as a part of its policy, United States has always maintained robust unofficial relationship with Taiwan. As mentioned before, US-Taiwan relations is governed by Taiwan's Relations Act. Supplementing this, not to miss the recently declassified six assurances which President Reagan conveyed to Taiwan in 1982 reinforces US commitment and its policy towards Taiwan. So I would like to read the assurances. So the US side has agreed, if I can read directly from the congressional report, the US side has not agreed to set a date for ending arms sales to Taiwan. The US side has not, number two, US side has not agreed to consult with the PRC on arms sales to Taiwan. Third, the US side will not play any mediation role between Taipei and Beijing. Fourth, the US side has not agreed to revise the Taiwan's Relations Act. Adding to it, the US side has also not altered its position regarding sovereignty over Taiwan. And the US side will not exert pressure on Taiwan to enter into negotiations with the PRC. So these are the exact assurances which I'm reading of, which I've read from the report. So along with these assurances, if we see, US has stated its goal to maintain peace and stability in Taiwan Strait and in East Asia. It has focused on to maintain status quo that exists between Beijing and Taipei. So recently, because of rising China's military aggression in the Taiwan Strait. Amidst changing geopolitical dynamics, President Biden openly stated several times that United States would come to Taiwan's defense if China attacks. So we can also see increased political interactions between US and Taiwan. Biden, in fact, is the first president to invite Taiwanese representatives to attend the inaugural. In fact, recently in August 2022, US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taipei, and her message was very clear and direct. She categorically stated, if I can quote unquote, the visit should be seen as unequivocal statement that America stands with Taiwan, our democratic partner, as it defends itself and its freedom. So even as Taiwan faces intimidating threats from China. So, in response, China has carried out military exercises around the island. US has reciprocated to rising China's aggression and coercive actions in the Taiwan Strait by demonstrating its presence in the region and by regularly participating in military training and dialogues. So there are reports of US willingness to designate Taiwan as a major NATO ally. US has also encouraged Taiwan to increase its defense spending. So if you see the actions, in fact, adding to it, it is also seen to be encouraging in the Indo-Pacific, its Indo-Pacific allies, the EU, G7, and the broader international community to support Taiwan and to deter Beijing by raising the costs and potential punishments for China if it decides to attack Taiwan. So, adding to this, I believe that US increasing open support to Taiwan should not be viewed in isolation. It should rather be viewed as one of the major developments in the Indo Pacific region and as a part of the process as to who will rule out the international order.
Well, thank you so much, Divya. My last question to you is that is this China-Taiwan issue resolvable or will it linger on till eternity?
So, in my opinion, this issue is not going to resolve anytime soon. It will linger on. In fact, it is a set example to understand tectonic power shifts or power game and the geopolitical dynamism and realities in an anarchic international order.
Thank you so much, Divya, for the interview. It was a really amazing interview, and I myself learned a lot from you. And thank you once again for coming on the Global Strategic and Defense News.
Thank you so much, sir. It is really a great pleasure to be a part of the Global Strategic and Defense News Network. Thank you once again for providing me an opportunity to have discussion with you on China-Taiwan tensions. And I'm looking forward to such academic engagements with you in future as well. Thank you so much.